Welcome back to Behind the Sign. I got Ben Coulibaly from Atlanta, Georgia, a mortgage originator or mortgage banker. What's the difference between a mortgage originator and a mortgage banker?
We're all one and the same. We all just kind of use different names. I like to use the term mortgage banker. I think it's a lot more simple that way for a lot more people to understand what we do. But mortgage loan originator, mortgage banker, mortgage loan officer, mortgage consultant, whatever you want to call us. We're all one and the same for the most part.
All right. How long you been doing this?
6 years. Blessed to be doing this for 6 years. I came right out of college doing this, so I'm still pretty young in the game, but have a lot of miles on me.
Like one of the things that impresses me about you and your business, well, social media is really good, but the amount of knowledge that you have and how you put it out to the public, there's not a whole lot of guys out there that are willing to do it and do it as smooth as you do. What got you into this social media thing?
Oh man, that's a great question. So it was around the pandemic. I had a friend of mine, her name is Rose, and she has a huge social media following. She has over 1 million followers on TikTok. And at the time, she had almost about 500,000 followers on Instagram. And obviously during COVID, we were all cooped up inside. Yep. And I was just like everybody else scrolling through TikTok, right? Just bored, scrolling through TikTok, every now and again. And I remember one time I was doing a consultation with a close friend of mine, and Rose, who is also a good friend of mine, was listening in on the consultation. And she was like, "Hey, have you ever thought about going on social media and posting about, the knowledge and information that you have regarding mortgage lending, credit, things like that?" And initially I was like, no, I've never considered it, never thought about it, because when I was scrolling through TikTok back then, this was back in 2021. It was mostly people like dancing. Right. That's what TikTok, like early TikTok, that's what it was. It was people dancing. It was more so like a place where people went to go laugh and have fun. And yep. I'm thinking like education on TikTok, nobody's going to care. And she was like, no, and she actually was one of those people who was on TikTok dancing. Like she danced and did dance routines on TikTok. So I'm thinking like, nah, like it's not going to work. People are not going to be interested in that. And she's like, no, like you should really take your knowledge and put it on TikTok, like in a short form video format. And I think it'll get a lot of people's attention. And I did my first video, 10,000 views.
That's awesome.
And I was like, oh, snap. Yeah. Notifications, bing, bing, like my phone's like going off. I'm like, oh my God, like what's going on? I was looking at my wife like, this is crazy. And then it just started rolling from me from there, man. And I still to this day, I thank her for giving me the courage to go ahead and get out my comfort zone just to do it.
Yep.
Because I never would have thought it would have grown to be what it is today.
So what were you like Instagram? Like how many followers do you have on Instagram before that happened?
On Instagram, I was at about 1,000 followers on Instagram.
So they kind of propelled each other.
Yeah. Yep. They both propelled each other. So it started with TikTok. And at the time when TikTok first started, you couldn't DM anybody on TikTok that you weren't following. You couldn't message them directly. Right. So what I did was I linked it to my Instagram account. And a lot of times people would come to my Instagram account to message me, like ask me questions. They would just organically end up following me in that way. So that's kind of how my following on Instagram blew up with the TikTok. But I got to give it all to TikTok. TikTok is the main reason why I've been able to grow kind of this name for myself in this lending industry.
Yeah. So like for me, TikTok was, I didn't get in it for the same reason as you, but my TikTok is completely different than my Instagram. I can't it's hard for me to pull, people from TikTok onto my Instagram. Yeah. I don't know how to juggle the two. And Rose had a lot of followers. Did she assist you with growing, or did she just encourage you?
She just encouraged me. She didn't assist me in actually making content or anything. Like she just encouraged me with the knowledge that I do have to just share it. Gotcha. Now, in terms of my creativity, I'm a pretty creative person. Mm-hmm. Like I can definitely come up with things and be on the fly. I could just middle of the night think of something like, oh, that's a great idea. I should definitely talk and post about this. Yep. But no, she did not help me create anything. She just
Well, no, I was
encouraged
more
me.
so like, did she collab with you or anything like that to get you
Oh,
in
no,
front of
no,
her
no. Mm-mm.
followers?
Nope. Just she didn't know. I wanted to do everything organically.
Yep.
I'm big on doing things organically, doing things the right way because I'm a big believer. If you build your foundation, like nobody or nothing can help, collapse it, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
for me, it was just more so about growing an organic following, people who genuinely cared about what I was doing, not
Yes.
necessarily going to Rose, who already at the time had 1 million followers on her
Right.
account, right? She could have easily just said, "Hey, go follow this guy." But I
Yep.
was like, no, I really want to grow it in an organic way and really do it, just just literally from the ground up. So I want to start from nothing and work my way up. And now that I'm at a place where, I am now I wouldn't mind if, someone like gave
Well,
me a
yeah,
shout
because
out
you're
here and
there,
there.
right? Like I mean,
Exactly. Yeah.
I would say
Yeah.
that amongst like lenders out there, you're probably on the upper echelon of followers and content. How many videos do you put out, like weekly, daily? What's your goal?
Man, that's a great question because ideally I want to put out a video every day. When I first started, I was putting out a video every day.
Yep.
Sometimes 2 times a day.
Yep.
And now because of the business that I get, and it's just me. So keep in mind, I'm the one doing the content, editing the content,
Yep.
posting the content. When people send me messages, I'm responding, right?
Yep.
I have people who book consultations with me. I have to do consultations. I still originate. So keep
Yep.
that in mind. I'm still originating. I'm
I
still
feel you.
structuring deals. I'm still getting, so I'm doing a lot of work. So now it's gotten to a point where I try to release content as much as I can, along with the work that I'm already doing on the back end of it, of actually helping people and closing deals. So it gets really tough right now for me. I try to, at the very least, do 3 a week at the very least,
Yeah.
which isn't a lot. I wish I could do a lot more. And I truly believe had I been posting more consistently like I was in the beginning, when I had the time on my hands during COVID, we all had time on our hands.
Right.
I think I would be at 100,000 by now for
Well,
sure.
David Goggins says you got 40% more in you.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You got it. You can do more.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
do you have a family?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. My wife, my daughter, I have a son on the way too in
Oh, well,
February.
congrats.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, as far as like the content goes and like the struggle is real. I don't think people understand that, you know, as a real estate agent, I get attacked a lot. I don't think lenders do nearly as much as real estate agents do, but we get attacked a lot by people. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's hard for us. I did a video that was like, so many real estate agents get triggered. And I said that to trigger real estate agents to keep them on and keep people watching it. Right. And at the end,
Yeah.
I explained why, because it's our livelihood and we do work really
Yeah.
hard. And, all the stuff that we do on social media is just on top of an already busy schedule. And so
Exactly.
it's definitely it's a grind. And I also do a lot of my own content. I edit almost all my TikTok videos are my own, unless it's like a house tour. You can clearly see the ones that I have my video editor do. They're usually the
Yeah.
long form ones, and I can't post them on
Yeah.
TikTok because he'll put music on it and it gets
Yeah.
muted. I'm like,
Yeah.
really? The
Yeah.
song we pay for this music and it gets muted or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so as far as like TikTok and Instagram, has that contributed to your business as far as making you more busy and getting you more clients?
100%. Oh, 100%, man. It's been a blessing. It's been a blessing to me, definitely financially in a lot of ways, especially with TikTok coming out with their new creator platform where they actually compensate you. So
Yep.
that's one way. But also ways where, people find me, right? And I mean, nationwide, and they just want me to hear their story, what they're going through, review their loan estimate. Do they want me to actually process and work with them? And it's been a blessing, man. Growing a platform on TikTok and just social media in general it's been a huge blessing. My business during COVID, I made the most money I've ever made since I've been in the industry.
Awesome.
Obviously interest rates played a role in it
Yeah.
because
Yep.
interest rates were at all time low. So gotta give respect where it's due to the Federal Reserve. But Still, it still attests to my hard work as well, because I mean, like you already know, growing a social media platform is not easy.
Hmm.
I would say the biggest thing is consistency, being
Yep.
able to stay consistent, being able to stay, being able to stay consistent and open and willing to provide information to an audience that's, believe it or not, every day they are looking for you. And I
Yep.
didn't even notice it until there was periods of time where I would stop posting. They'd be like, "Hey, where did you go?"
I know, right?
Um, yeah. So, it's definitely helped my business tremendously. And again, during that time, during COVID, I made the most money I've ever made since I joined the industry, since I've been in the industry. And now post COVID, obviously with interest rates being higher, there aren't a lot of applications being done as there was then. So I'm not making as much as I did then, but still I'm able to survive
Hmm.
the tougher times,
Yep.
because I have a resource like
Yep.
social media, which other lenders don't. And that's why you're seeing, now in our industry, I'm sure, you see it. A lot of
Mhm.
people are dropping out
Yep.
because it's gotten tough for them. And it's going to continue to kind of be that way until sometime middle end of next year, with the interest rates being where they're at. So it's definitely been a blessing for me, man. It's been a way for me to just kind of, hey, if something's not working, hey, I just know where I gotta go to, what I gotta do, make a post, read a couple of comments, answer a couple of DMs, book a
Yep.
couple of consultations, and I'm good to go.
So you're able to do, how many states are you able to lend in?
16. So I'm with
Six.
South Point Financial Services. Yep. So we're able to lend in 16 states. I like to call myself the Southeast region lender
Okay.
because I'm licensed in Florida, Georgia, Texas, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, the Carolinas,
Yep.
Ohio. So I like to call myself the Southeast. I am from West Philadelphia.
Okay.
So I am licensed in PA as well. So I do some deals there, but the Southeast, man, is pretty much my bread and butter.
So Philadelphia, huh? Are you a Sixers fan?
Oh, you know it.
AI, your
You
man?
know it. Oh, he is. Come on, the best point guard to ever play.
Dude was sick, wasn't he? I mean,
Oh, of
his
course.
explosion was just like so sneaky. You just couldn't. I'm a basketball guy, so like, yeah,
Yeah.
AI was smooth. I always, so I
Mm,
love Jordan and the Bulls. I grew up in the Midwest, and when I
yeah.
was growing up, WGN and Atlanta,
Mm,
TBS and TNT, they were the
yeah.
only channels that carried professional sports. So it was the Atlanta Hawks and the
Yeah.
Bulls and the
Yeah.
Cubs and the Braves, and like that was
Yeah.
it, right? So I
Yeah.
watched a ton of Bulls game. Obviously, love Jordan. I'm old.
Yeah.
Everybody that my age loved Jordan. When he played AI, I was always scared because that dude was just like, and that was later on in his career, but he was
Yeah.
just so fast, so quick, and he just shock you.
Uh-huh.
But
Explosiveness. That first step was crazy. I think we were all grateful that he was the height that he was, because I think if he was like 6'6", a six
no,
seven man, it would have
yeah.
been
Well, you know what? He was like what 6'2", 6'3"
on paper. He was
on
he was more
paper,
like 6 foot.
right? Even, but I mean, when he on the court, he looked like he was 5'10", and then he would
Yeah.
rise
Yeah.
up and just dunk it, and you're like, what?
Yeah. What? Yep. He was
Uh,
6 foot. He
he
was
was
6 foot.
he was fun to watch. Well, back to
Yeah.
business, right? So,
Yeah.
uh, being able to stick through, like you were saying, and being able to make it is going to be so
Mm.
crucial because we know that this market is just right around the corner, and you got to be ramped up, ready to go. That's
Yep.
been one of my strategies is I don't want to change. So I have a licensed assistant. I have a full-time assistant. I got a full-time videographer, marketing guy. And it's like, I need to do everything I can to keep them on full-time staff because when this
Mhm.
machine turns, everything that I lost when it's slow, because I still got to pay
Mhm.
salaries and stuff, it's going to get made up very quickly if we have everything in
Yep.
place. Because
Exactly.
like you said middle next year, and that's kind of your prediction on when rates are going to get strong enough for people to. What do you think they're going to go down to? Just throw it out
That's a
there.
great question. Um, I would like to see them go down to about 4.
Yeah.
Probably not going to happen.
Yep.
I think we're going to go down to about. I think we're going to be at like the low sixes.
Yep.
That's my prediction. Low sixes. I think low sixes for next year, and depending on how the economy is operating next year, I would not be surprised if we're in the low fives.
Okay.
by 2025. I would not be surprised.
Yeah. So for me, I've been saying that low sixes to high fives. That's where I'm thinking it's
Yeah.
going to balance out.
Mhm.
I don't think we need to go down to the fours just for the simple fact that if we do, it's really going to hurt the market because it'll hurt the
Yeah.
buyers. I mean, sellers will love it because their values will go up so much. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think I saw one of your videos where you were talking about if rates go down. I know I say it all the time, but you've probably seen it too, where our inventory still isn't back strong enough yet. And I mean, like in our market, I just pulled it up, and over so we have 3,000 homes for sale, and in 2008 we had 6,000.
Mm-hmm.
So we're half of where we used to be, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
struggle. Well,
Yeah.
if we come up like 50% of our inventory is between 300 and 500,000. So
Yeah.
like 3,000 is still not what it really is because all of our competition's in the same area. So if you're outside of that area, there's nothing else out there. So it's
Exactly.
really, if we get rates to drop down to less than 6, I have a feeling it's multiple offers. It's going to be a struggle again.
It's gonna be crazy. We need more. I mean, and that's kind of like the 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 reason why I say I wish they were in the fours is because I'm thinking maybe if we do put interest rates in the fours, will that be enough to motivate those people who are holding tight to those 2-3% interest rates to go, you know what? The rates are low enough for me to go ahead and let go and sell the
Yeah.
home. Because at 5, I mean, they still might be having that tug of war in their hearts and brains about that payment. Like, I don't want to give up this payment.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I might need to move, I don't want to move because of this payment, so, and then again, we still struggle with the inventory issue. So
Yeah.
it's definitely going to be, as I've told many potential buyers in the past, hey, look, you can buy now with there being less competition, or you can wait and sit around when rates come down. And when they do, it's going to be like COVID all over again.
Yeah.
So be
That's the
ready for
video I
that.
saw you
Have
do.
your money ready.
You just bought a house, right?
Yes, I did.
And so
Mm-hmm.
you took advantage
Yep.
of the fact that they're available today, even though your rate's higher.
Mm-hmm. 100%. Yep. 29-year-old millennial, just married, kid on the way. We bought a home outside of Atlanta in an Atlanta suburb. And we took advantage, man. I mean,
Yep.
our rate, it's not the greatest. I mean, we're up there too. We're at a lot of people think, oh, he's a mortgage person. He probably got a lower rate. No, I'm
Yeah.
at 6.5. I'm at a 6.5. I
Yeah.
bought around late spring of this year. I'm at a 6.5 rate. I mean, it's not an ideal rate, right? But I mean, the deal that I got, I mean, for the home that we bought, I mean, I was literally just talking to my wife this morning. We were drinking coffee, and the home right down the street, literally comparable to ours. The only thing it has that ours doesn't have is a basement. It sold for $575. Do you know what I bought
Mhm.
my home for? For $445.
Yep.
Late in the spring of this year, a home that's a comp to mine just sold for $575. So just think about that,
Yeah.
right? So and that's what rates being where they are today. So imagine what's going to happen next year in 2025, right? So
Absolutely.
that, when you're in the industry, these things. And for people who aren't, this who sit on the sidelines, when we tell them like, hey, we're not just trying to make a buck off of you when we
Yeah.
tell you get in. Like we're giving you the best advice to
Yep.
get in. I'm living it.
And
So yeah.
that's what's important is you're doing it, you're living it. I don't need to buy a house. I've been in mine for 10 years, right? So like
Yeah.
we're staying put until our kids graduate,
Yeah.
right? But being able to say, hey, I did that is very big because we get called out all the time. Like someone's like, would you buy a
Mm-hmm.
home in this market? I'm like, absolutely, I would buy a home because I know that
I
the
get
rate's
it.
temporary. If the rates
Yep.
change, I can get a different one, but
Exactly.
here's the key thing. When people bite back about the interest rate, you guys have to qualify people, right? Like to get the loan,
Yes.
you have to have a certain debt
Yeah.
to income so you can
Yep.
afford the payment when you get what you
Mm-hmm.
get.
Yes.
So if rates do drop, you win.
Exactly.
And if rates go up, you win because you're stuck at the rate that you got and
Because you're
you're
stuck
glad
at
you
the
got
rate that
that
you
instead
got.
of an 8% rate. So
Exactly.
But it's hard to get people to understand that and listen because I'm just a used car salesman, right? That's what I get compared to. So whatever.
Hey, it is what it is. It's,
Yep.
in anything you do in life, there's an upside and a downside to it. So, I
Absolutely.
mean, it is what it is. But one thing I will say is every closing that I do is so fulfilling. I try to go to as many as I can because it is so fulfilling and I love what I do. And I've never had a person who, in the long run, obviously, when they first get into home ownership, is a little bit daunting. They're like, oh
Yep.
my God, Ben, I got to fix this. I got to do that. But
Yep.
in the long run, I mean, 2, 3 years later down the line, when they're calling me and we're doing a refinance or we're taking equity out of that home or whatever, I mean, they are happy. They are joyful.
Absolutely.
They're like, I'm so glad I'm not renting. Like, I'm so glad I don't have to worry about, my rent going up or things of that nature or being kicked out because the landlord wants to sell the home. They are, in the long run, they are truly joyful that they bought a home. And, we can only do so much when we
Yep.
preach it. I mean,
It really is the
downside
best way to build generational wealth. Like I tell my
100%.
clients, live there at least 5 years. The only time people really get hurt is when they buy and move like a year or two later. I mean, it's
100%.
really hard to make up that money that quick, but it can happen. I mean, it absolutely can
Mm-hmm.
happen. You could probably do it if rates turn around and you sell in a year, right? But I
Oh,
mean,
100%.
holding on to those houses can just help you so much in the long run. So much.
Mm-hmm.
Give you so many options.
100%.
So the
Mm-hmm.
thing that people, I did see that you do HELOCs as well, right?
Yes. Yep.
And people got to be careful with the HELOCs.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I try and explain to people, if you finance your car into your house and then you go buy another car, well, now you're financing bad debt into your house. And then if you have to sell your home and you borrowed all your equity and now you're upside down, that's not our
Mm-hmm.
fault. That's not the market's
Yeah.
fault.
Yeah.
That's your fault. That's like bad
That's
debt.
your fault.
That's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times it gets a bad name for the fact that people borrow too much on their house. And you just got to
Yes.
be real careful. What's the
I
rule with
agree with you.
HELOCs? Like what percentage can you give a HELOC for, like loan to value?
So we can go up to 90% on the primary residence. We
So
go
if
up to
someone has good
90%.
equity, it's still safe to get the HELOC.
Mm-hmm. 100%. I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. I normally encourage people to get a HELOC to do one of two things. Consolidate high interest debt,
Mm-hmm.
right? If it is your car, have a plan and don't go buy another car and take out another car loan if it is going to be your car. Typically, it's going to be high interest credit cards. That's
Mm-hmm.
typically what people are consolidating. The other thing is investing.
Yep.
Investing. For the most part, I've done HELOCs. I've done so many HELOCs, especially during this time where interest rates are being where they are. A lot of people who are taking out HELOCs are using them to invest.
Yeah.
To invest, whether that be in real estate, whether that be in stocks, whether that be in businesses, whatever it may be. Like they're taking that money out to invest and hopefully regain something back, and then put it back right where it belongs. Because a HELOC is like a credit card that you can continue to use. It's just your home. It's just the collateral, right?
Yep.
So that's what they're doing. So those are the two things that I advise. Hey, high interest debts, consolidate those or invest. If you do that, I mean, you really can't go wrong with the HELOC as long as you utilize it the right way and make sure that you just stay on top of it, right? Because if you do, especially if you have a first mortgage, right? So be mindful of that. We're definitely going to still count that first mortgage into your debt to income ratio,
Correct.
but you still have to be mindful that, okay, because what happens is people tend to consolidate everything. Then they say, oh, I have all this free money. And then they go and get more debt.
Yep.
Right. Then you have this endless cycle, right?
Yeah.
So it's just about educating and making sure that they, can't do anything about people disciplining themselves, but just educating them so that you hope in the long run that they discipline themselves to not put themselves in that same situation so that the cycle continues, right?
I have so many young adults that are wanting to get into the housing market. This is on social media. They comment all the time. I'll never be able to buy a house. Never, never, never. What is the biggest challenge facing young adults coming out of college, looking to own a home? What do you think the biggest challenges that you see?
Oh man, that's a great question. And you're talking to a millennial. So I understand I truly wholeheartedly understand, man. Student loans has become a tremendous crutch for a lot of people my age,
Mhm.
even at 29, and younger, even people in their 30s. I mean,
Yeah.
who struggle with being able to qualify for homes. Student loans. Lucky for me, I was blessed to be able to get an athletic scholarship
Oh,
to go to college and play. So I left with very minimal student loan debt. So did my wife. She's a nurse. She left with very minimal student loan debt, and we were able to position ourselves to purchase a home. Um, but for many other Americans, student loans has really become something that's really been a roadblock to home ownership. Um, and when I get a lot of consultation costs, that's normally like the first thing that people ask me, like, "Hey, how do I get around my student loans? Like, what do I do?" And it's hard to give an answer to someone who has like six figures in student loan debt,
yeah.
but they're
Yeah.
only making like $30,000 or $50,000 a year, and you have to have that transparent conversation with them, like, "Hey, maybe now is not the time, right?"
Hmm.
Because based off where you want to stay, right? If it's Metro Atlanta and homes in Metro Atlanta are average, the average home price is like in the mid 400,000s, low 400,000s, it's going to be hard to qualify for something making that much with the debt you also carry. So, that's definitely been the biggest roadblock. I'm not sure what the solution is going to be. I think we need a solution that's bigger than just sitting on the phone with a banker, right? Or speaking
Yeah.
to a realtor like yourself and being like, hey, provide me, a precise solution on how to get around this
Yeah.
problem.
And
I think
the problem is so deep. I think like,
yeah.
and now I'm putting my own personal opinion into this, but like I have a daughter that, she wanted to go to college, but she's probably going to be in sales. She'll probably join me
Mhm.
in real estate. And I'm like,
Nice. Okay.
don't go to college. Don't go to college because there's such this conception out there that you have to go to college to be a
Mm-hmm.
responsible adult. But I'm not using my degree. I'm assuming
Mm-hmm.
you aren't using your degree. I mean, maybe bits and pieces, but my wife's got a master's degree and she's not using her degree.
Mm-hmm.
And that's 6 years of college. And so we build up all this debt. And like you said, they've got a salary of $30,000. Like, do we really need to go to school to make $30,000? No. But
Nah.
unfortunately, there's this huge generation. When I say huge, I mean everybody up to this point
Yeah.
who's felt the need to go to college. And it's like, I got, let's say you're talking to someone who's in a poverty stricken area and they say, I broke out of there and I got my degree. Well, that might have set you back even further if you would have just said, you know what, I'm going to go start a business.
Exactly.
So it's something that
Exactly.
it takes some education and a lot of pushing because, that I don't want to say the government, society is still pushing college on people. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's got to be for you. Like my oldest daughter, she went to college. She's double major in criminology and psychology.
Yeah.
Yes, you probably need a degree to get into that.
Exactly.
But if you're getting into any type of sales or even human resources, you don't, and marketing is one for me. It changes so dang fast. You have to write your
Yeah.
program out and then it changes by the time it gets approved. And then you teach it the next year and you're already a year and a half behind. I
Behind.
can't even
Yeah.
keep up from week to week with this thing. Right. But yeah, that is a big thing. And I don't know how to fix it. I don't know. I mean, there's the debt forgiveness program, which I mean, it makes sense, but then it's also like, dang, what about all the people that like me? I paid off my $45,000 of college debt. That's tough to swallow knowing that
Huge.
everybody else, didn't have it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was an athlete too, but I didn't get paid to go to school. So I had to pay to play. But yeah, I mean,
um,
it's just a struggle. I mean, and I don't think there's a right answer. And I think we just got to have a change in society and expectations. And I love the trade schools. I love
mhm.
the idea that some high schools are opening up, like I think they're called parochial schools, where you can learn a trade when you're in high school. And then you come out, you work for a plumber for 3 or 4 years. And being in this business, they're so busy. You could start your own
Mhm.
business as long as you answer the phone, get back to people. and do what you say you're going to do, you can have a successful business.
Exactly. I
So
agree.
I
Yeah.
love that idea, but man, that is a struggle.
And it's going to have to change at some point, because I think the concept that you're thinking of with your daughter, I mean, a lot of people are adopting that. Like even me, my wife and I have had that conversation. I'm like, hey, like we're not going to force any of our kids to go to college.
Mm-hmm.
So something's going to have to change, because a lot of millennials are going to be teaching this to their kids. Like, hey, like this concept of just going to college just to get a degree that you might not even use and building up all this debt. I mean, you're going to start, because I mean, let's be frank here, right? It's a business, right?
Mm-hmm.
Colleges recruit like it's a business, and
Absolutely.
at, at some point you're going to see that the business plan is not sustainable, because
Yep.
we're realizing that they're by the time you come out, what's the real what's the real positive effect of staying in college for 3, 4, 5, 6 years, and then coming out and making the same amount of money you would have if you just would have just went to a trade school, right? and
Yep.
and got a hard skill and started working and building up your resume and building up your work experience and things like that. So the same concept that you're adopting, I mean, I've adopted, and many other people within my age group have adopted. And I think colleges are going to start to feel that. And when they do, behind that, the government does too, because the loans that are being paid back with interest is going to the Fed. So
Mm-hmm.
they're going to see that, hey, you know what? This business plan is starting to fail now. They're not coming to school like we thought they would. So
Yep.
they're going to have to do some changing around, because we might really get to a point where it's too late. And this whole idea of, hey, once you hit 18, go to college. No, it's going to be once you turn 18, go into the workforce, right?
Yep.
Join mom and dad in their business, or hey, go work with your uncle at the car wash or at the restaurant. Like build some hard skills, some life
Absolutely.
skills, right?
Learn how to talk to
And
people.
then
Yep.
exactly. So no, I agree.
Yeah. My daughter, she was like, well, I was thinking about, going to Iowa State, which is a college just north of us, and good college, great college. My parents went there, but she's saying, I want to get into like HR maybe or something like that. And I go, let me ask you a question. If you go to a local business, now I get corporate business, big companies, they probably want a
Yeah.
degree because that's in their handbook,
Yeah.
right? But
Mhm.
you go to a local business and you have worked the 4 years for somebody, and then you go against someone who's been in college and they can give a degree, but they have zero experience. I promise you
Mhm.
that local business is going to go, you know what? I like this person that's got a little experience under the belt. And
100%.
and now you don't come out with debt. You at least have, an income over the last 4 years. And she's like, okay. And then, oh man, I wish I could remember her name. You probably follow her. There's an agent that big social media gal over on the West Coast, real estate agent, but she was saying the
Mhm.
same thing. And so I would send my daughter these videos, and she's like, I'm feeling a lot better about stuff now. I'm feeling a lot better about not. So she'll go to JUCO, and that's fine. You can go to JUCO, go to
Mhm.
business, at least learn some accounting skills and learn some business skills. And that's cool. That will
Mhm.
definitely help. But yeah, she's gonna get licensed here. She's a senior in high school, and she's gonna get licensed in
Nice.
January, hopefully, or at
Nice.
least start to prepare and take the test and that stuff. So,
Nice.
but yeah, there's a lot going on in this world that has changed since COVID hit.
Mhm.
And at the speed at which things have changed is unbelievable. I mean,
I agree.
how much AI do you use at this point?
Man, I got to give out a secret then.
A little bit, a lot. You
A
don't have to
little
give out
bit of a
secrets.
secret. No, it's fine. It's fine. So the company that I work with, South Point. So, we also do consumer direct as well. So what they do is we're using AI to do automated communications between clients who put in inquiries online that may be
Mhm.
looking for a mortgage. So instead of talking to Ben, right, you're talking to my assistant Alex, who is an AI system that you're
Yep.
having a conversation. And this is not no like like bot conversation. This is a like you would think you're talking to a real person,
Right.
up until they want to get on the phone with me. And then Alex, transfers them over to me and says, hey, Ben is available to speak with you, at this time, at this date. So literally I have an assistant who's like an AI system. Like
Yep.
whenever I get on the phone with someone, they're like, hey, Alex, transfer me over to you, when Alex is just an AI system. Sorry, my daughter's crying.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
Do you need to go get her?
Is she okay? Oh, she's fine.
Okay.
Her mom's got it. But yeah, so I have an assistant that's like an AI,
Yep.
that kind of just works on my behalf to follow up with leads,
Mm-hmm.
or current clients or past clients that I'm working with. So it really takes the load off of me in terms of the communication aspect, right? The line of communication that needs to happen throughout the nurturing process of a client, and even during the house buying process.
Yep.
So yeah.
Then you get an update, but I mean, you're doing your job. That's part of it, right?
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Always getting an update. I mean, you still need some, a real human being to interact at some point, right? But just to kind of, those little things like, hey, we reached this point in the process, right? Hey, when you get your loan estimate, these are the things that you need to look for, right? You need to, when you go to page 1, this is what you should see. This is where your payments at, things like that. Just those things that I don't have to go in and reiterate all the time, right? The AI system is doing that for me.
Yeah.
Right. And now I get to focus on the bigger picture things, right? So now if they have like specific questions that they need to hop on the phone with me on, then I'll do that. But what AI has done for me is simplify it for the borrower so they can see it and go, okay, I know exactly what they're talking about. I can go ahead and review everything and go ahead and sign everything. And the other good thing about it is sometimes based off questions that have been asked in the past, like frequently asked questions, if they ask it, it'll answer it.
Yeah.
Hey, where can I find my payment? Oh, page 1. This section right here is where you can find a payment. Here's an example of a loan estimate right where you should see it. I mean, it's a game changer. It's changed. Cool. Yeah, it's definitely saved me a lot of time. And again, helped me focus on a lot of things that are like big picture things, originating and structuring more deals for other clients, right? Instead of more so babysitting other files that, may need the attention, but they're getting that attention. They don't feel left out or being like they're left out to dry. They're getting the help that they need as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's like AI came out, Chat GPT came out, and then next thing you know, they're like, it's just like so fast. Like so fast. I just couldn't. Yeah. I mean, it took years for it to come out, but when it came out, then all of a sudden they're talking and they're singing, they're making songs. They're like, it's like, what? This stuff just hit.
It's crazy.
It's a weird world, man. And ever since COVID, not only that, but just attitudes, the way people communicate, like everything has been so different. It's like a learning curve for everybody to figure out what is going on and how you can be successful. But, to your point earlier about being creative, I think like creativity is so important. If you're not constantly thinking about how you can make things better, like you said, you wake up in the middle of the night and you got this idea that popped into your head, or you're talking to a client and you're like, oh, that's a good idea for a video. It's like the more you can stay aware of what's happening and what you can do to provide for people, just the more successful you're going to be.
Exactly.
And for you, like, you're a very well-spoken person and off the cuff. And I mean, social media is right up your alley. And it's obvious, you know what you're doing, which is awesome. And you're killing it, man. You're young, 29. You got a lot of time ahead of you.
Man, I don't feel like that, but yeah. I do, man. I turned 30 in January. So
wait till you have 5 kids like me.
Oh man, listen, after number 2, I don't know, man. 5.
Don't put that on me.
One of your posts. I saw one of your posts. You were like, you got 5 kids. I'm like, man, 5 kids. Man, listen, I wanted a big family too when I was in high school. If you saw my yearbook, I said I wanted 4 kids. And now thinking about it, I'm like, what was I thinking? 4 kids.
Yeah. So mine was 3. And then I got divorced back in, when the financial crash happened the last time. And then I got remarried and she didn't have any kids. So we had a kid and I was like, well, like I said, with my older girls, I'm like, well, they need to have a sibling. Right? It's with them all the time. Yeah. And now we got 5 kids that all love each other. And I mean, it's amazing. Like,
nice.
It is amazing. Nice. I got 4 girls and 1 boy.
Oh man. Oh man, hey, you had that sneak that boy in. You had to
I
sneak
did.
that boy
I
in.
did. But man, I'll tell you what, it's been fun. And having a
Yeah,
lot of kids is fine. It can be hectic and there's a lot going on and there's a lot to
yeah,
balance. But I mean,
yeah,
it's like anything else. You just do it, you move forward and you keep going and
yeah,
enjoy life, right?
yeah, yeah. Well,
So
what
my
advice
tick,
do you have for me as a well, we're going on 3 years of marriage. We have my son on the way in February. What advice do you have for me going
you
to two
know,
kids in 3 years strong?
I had grandparents that were married for like 76, 77 years.
Hmm.
And his name was Stewie. And I asked Stewie and Shirley, I was like, what's the secret? Or my wife might have asked. We were both there. And he said, you just have to get along.
Mm.
I'm like, that's too simple, but it's so true. You just have to get
Yeah,
along,
definitely.
but as far as like the kids thing, honestly, like it's when a baby's young, when you have a baby and they cry a lot and it's like, you want to get something done. Your wife wants to get something done. This kid's crying, this kid's crying. And it's like, you're mad at her because you want her to help, but yet somehow you got to be able to curb those emotions and just know it's going to be okay. And
Yeah,
like when you got that baby crying and your wife just wants some sleep, you just you just got to say, all right, I'm just going to be tired today. I just got to
yeah,
suck it up and do it and not be mad at her and not be
yeah,
mad at the kid because the kid doesn't know any better. They just want
yeah,
comforted, like,
yeah,
so basically you just have to get along and kind of suck it up. And then once they get older, like I've got older girls, I got one in college, and a couple in high school, and it's fun. Like, I mean,
yeah,
I'm telling you, it is fun.
yeah.
I'm ready to be okay. I don't want my daughters to have a kid, but I'm ready for a grandbaby, right? Like to be able to
Yeah,
have that little baby again for a little bit,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
then give it back.
yeah,
It's going
and
to be
then hand
so
it right
fun.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now
yeah,
I could wait 5 years for that, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I love kids. I love family, and just get along. I mean, just
yeah,
have some grace, get along. That's all I can say
yeah.
because it's
I
tough.
agree. Yeah. Oh, for sure, for sure.
But anyway,
Yeah,
well, hey, man, you've been great. I love your content. Keep being you. You're going to be successful. You already are successful.
thank you. Thanks.
It's going to be fun over the years, and I'm sure we'll stay in touch.
Oh, for sure, definitely. We'll definitely stay in touch. We got to do this again.
So if anybody has a loan in the southeast part of the country, give Ben a call.
Hey, let's do it.
All right. Well, hey,
All right.
appreciate it. I hope you have a good rest of the day. Hope that girl's done crying. You can go take her when she's happy.
I will.
All right, man. Well, you take care, and I appreciate you being on.
All right, you too. Thank you so much.
You bet. We'll see you.
All right. Thanks. Bye bye.